One, two, three. Welcome to everybody to the Mom and Dad Talks, where our favorite two people are Mom and Dad. Mom is here in the house entertaining guests, but we got
Oh,
Hantie.
this is Loraine Thames.
Yeah, how you doing, Loraine?
Just wait, get in the picture, Loraine, so they can see you.
Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't see you right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, how you doing? Good
The
to
elders
see
are
you.
at church,
Yeah.
and she is the community service leader of the Niles Westside Church,
All right.
and she works at she's a retired nurse.
Amen.
Retired nurse.
Nurses don't retire; they just move on to another element.
No, they just count the money they made when they were working. That's what they do.
That's true. That's true. Well, of course, everybody, we have Dad today too with us here, and folks.
Do you want to freshen up on what you're talking about, or
we're just gonna go with it right now, Dad, because we're recording right now.
Okay.
So, folks, this is how we do it. Accidents and all, one recording. So here we go, folks. So basically, today's discussion, unfortunately, violence has gripped this nation. Incivility has gripped this nation is a bad thing. And just to show, this whole thing about Smithsburg mass shooting. And I just read just a little bit about it. We're going to talk briefly about it here because I think it's important. Smithsburg, Maryland, was a mass shooting. How it happened, what we know, what we don't know. Police believe a 23-year-old worker at Columbia Machine, 23 years old, at Columbia Machine in Smithsburg, went to his workplace and opened fire Thursday, killing 3 and wounding another. The suspect then fled south in Mapleville Road when he got into a shootout with Maryland State Troopers. The suspect and an officer were wounded. The police have released some of what they know about the mass shooting, including a general outline of the events and names of the victims. And folks, the name is Joe Louis Escobar, 23 of Hedgesville, West Virginia, has been charged in the shooting. I don't even know where to begin with this because it's almost like a common incidence of things happening here in America where people are not talking and treating people right, whether one end or the other. And basically, what I found is that a lot of times what ends up happening is that, and I'll speak from only because I had a friend who worked at another place. There was a mass shooting in Virginia Beach. I'm not going to say his name or anything like that. And the person went on a rampage and killed people. Okay. And when they killed people, he was working that day. And the thing I want to point out to everybody is that, when he was working that day, he knew that something was wrong with that guy. And it wasn't the first time. It was that something was wrong with him, period. He didn't talk to him or anything like that. He was just different. And he knew his spirit. The thing about it is he never said hello to him and stuff like that. So he knew something was wrong. But the day that he started to kill people, the Holy Spirit hit him and he happened to take his day off that day. And that man went on a rampage. I'm not trying to judge anybody or anything like that here. I'm just going to show a quick picture for those of you who see him online or something like that here real quick if you all can see it. We're not judging here or anything like that. But when I looked at this man, and this is a younger picture of him. And I looked at his eyes. I said, there's something troubling him. And when I see that kind of look or that kind of stare that people have, you know what I'm saying? What happens is that they, how do I say it, folks? I know to stay away from that. My dad taught me to stay away from that kind of stare or that kind of troubled spirit. And something's wrong. Keep an eye on that. Something's wrong with that. And you got to be very careful how you treat them, how you talk to them. My dad taught me that kind of thing because not everybody is same that acts or you may think are the same, but you got to look in the eyes. It tells us. So before I continue on, what are your points about what you just saw and what you thought about the story and stuff like that you think, Mom and Dad and Hantie? Don't all speak at once. Hantie, what's your perspective on it?
Well, I guess because I read body language first.
Mm-hmm.
And and eyes are part of that.
Mm-hmm.
I use my eyes to protect myself
Mm-hmm.
and to protect others.
Mm-hmm.
My job is I'm a greeter. I'm the first person that they see.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to protect the people in the back
Mm-hmm.
whom I service.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that job is very important. And long years ago, I was even in high school when someone said, "Who has the most important job in the whole wide world?"
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I do,
Mm.
for me.
Mm-hmm.
You do for you.
Mm-hmm.
You do for you. So we have to take what comes to us as as a as a warning that when someone does not can't meet your eye, or
Mm-hmm.
they don't you don't read that there. We all have a certain amount of happiness that should exude.
Yes. Yes.
Should exude.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't see that, then you have to put up barriers. I don't mean stoppers. I
Mm-hmm.
mean barriers that say, just how do you do it, and still want to meet their eye.
Yeah.
If this young man did not meet someone's eye, they should have been conscious of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we have to have, those of us who believe in Christ
Mm-hmm.
have to have a
Discernment of
happiness.
spirit. Yeah. Happiness,
Yes.
and also discernment of spirit, right? Because
Right.
what you're talking
Right.
about is that you should have some level of happiness in your life. If not, you got to find the joy and experience of God and that sharing of the gospel. That's why we're Christians. We should show. And a lot of people who are Christians don't share the joy of the gospel, because guess what? Some of your worst people are Christians because they're the most mean people sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Not be so. So, Dad, what are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are, if you look at that man's eye, it is a boxer's eyes that, don't mess with me look.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just before they do all the rules and everything, they get out and the referees explain everything. These boxers will stare at each other in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a stare down, or get in your face type of thing. That's why, a lot of kids, when they have trouble at school and just before a fight,
Mm-hmm.
they get in each other's face.
Yes.
And that face is a threat to them, and they have to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I look at that. He has some troubling eyes,
Mm-hmm.
eyes that tell you, don't mess with me. If you mess with me, I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
That's the eyes. And Sister Loraine, what's your take on that?
I'm just fascinated with what you're talking about. You're on another level. I've never considered looking at someone like that or reading their body language. So I'm just going to sit back and listen. I'm in the learning mood right now.
Oh, yeah. That's great. That's great. So the thing about it is, growing up, my dad was like always telling me to be careful because there's problems out in the street. And my dad, he was not always a Christian. So he understood that element. And he understood the fact that when you see a certain element, be careful of it. And my dad would show me, watch out for that. That body language and stuff. I was just talking to a young man the other day and said, you got to learn how to read balances between life and death. And if you're from the streets, you get it real quick. You're always reading the body language. Like, oh, know what? I mean, because in the hood, JoJo down the street, that dude's never been right. Stay away from him. Don't even kind of play with him.
JoJo will hurt you.
Yeah, JoJo will hurt you if you kind of play with him the wrong way. He seems good for right now, but then he'll turn on you. And so, that kind of thing I was brought up with, to always be aware. In fact, you'll hear people from the hood know who to look out for because you keep the radar up. But then when you're away from it, you feel relaxed and the guards go down. And everything goes down there. And pretty soon you just accept everybody as normal. And all of a sudden incidents happen. That's how people get robbed. Dude, you didn't have your radars up. You didn't have your discernment of spirit up. And guess what? Unfortunate incidents happen, and we all can fall into that, because all it is just to let down the guard. And you got to understand, people are like predators sometimes. They want to pick on the weak and take advantage of a situation that works in their favor. I was talking to a lady who was working in the prison system. She was a counselor. And I told her that, there's certain dudes who know how to prey on certain women. They spot them. It's not every woman. It's a certain kind of woman that they see and how she conducts herself. And we'll talk about this another time. And they go right to her and they pick her out and they manipulate her. And these guys are so keen to it. She's like, Todd, you're so right. I was like, yeah, I've seen these cats before. I understand how these dudes work. They know how to pick them out and they know who to pick. They don't pick everybody. It's that one that has that certain spirit, they can tell by the way she carries herself, oh, I'm going to get her. And I've seen it over and over again. I was a resident assistant. I saw these guys prey on women, unfortunately. I knew they're like, why he's picking on this nice girl? Because she's accessible to his tricks.
Take advantage of her.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
It's kind of like this, folk, and we won't hold it too long here because I think it's a great discussion. It's kind of like with a mechanic, right? Dad, you work on cars. Mm-hmm. So when you walk into a mechanic shop, and thank you for teaching me how to work on cars when your sonny boy didn't want to work on cars. Really appreciate that, Dad.
And he still doesn't want to get his hands dirty.
Yeah. But however, I'm glad you put me under the car so I wouldn't be taken advantage of. So when you start talking to a guy and they start talking about muffler bearings, you should pick that out right away. There's no such thing as muffler bearings.
Because there's no such thing as a muffler bearing.
And
so if you don't work on cars, you don't know.
Exactly. And so a lot of times guys will try to throw all this stuff at you in terminology like you don't know. And then when you start going back and telling them, well, I know what this does and this does, that doesn't sound right. All of a sudden it's a different dialogue. Hold up. Mm-hmm. They change the subject and say, okay, now it's Mr. Hunt rather than Todd. Mm-hmm. Turns from talking down.
It's just like today, I tried to put in an address in my GPS and it just wouldn't go through. Mm-hmm. Well, a suggestion was made. Go on your way to the camp meeting, go to Holland, put in the same address. Mm-hmm. It still didn't go through. Mm-hmm. Well, the person told me it must be my fault. I didn't want to go. Well, if the GPS doesn't work, it just doesn't work. It's not my fault. Mm-hmm. So,
Did you go?
I went as far as Holland, but once I got up there and didn't get the address, I turned around and came home.
Oh, I wondered why you was home so early.
Gas is over $5 a gallon. I already used up half a tank of gas. I'm going back home.
Oh my goodness! Oh, what a story!
Yeah. So like I said, that I really love it. And folk, like I said, I hope this was a good discussion for you because, like I said, everybody always says they never saw it coming. Well, most of the time you never see it coming because you weren't paying attention to the details. You're so self-indulged in yourself. You weren't paying attention to the people around you and their feelings, how they were treated.
And we have to be concerned about our surroundings.
Yeah.
You said something important that we're so focused on ourselves that we lose that. Yeah. And I don't know whether it's because I have worked security. I mean, not like a Walmart security type thing.
You actually held a gun, Hantie.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, my aunt was packing. She knows how to shoot, folk. Be careful.
But I had to be concerned about. I had to be conscious of who is around me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that's in life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's not just in security. Mm-hmm. That's in life.
And Hantie, that's such a great point there on that there about life here. So before we end, do you have any parting thoughts on this subject before we end here? Mom, Dad,
yes.
You have any parting thoughts before we end on this great discussion here?
This was a great discussion.
Yes, I agree. I learned a lot.
Yes, and the next time we're gonna have more input from you there. I appreciate you coming on Mom and Dad Talks today there. Okay. Before we leave everybody, it's a tragedy everywhere. When killings like this happen on a job, when you start looking at it, someone's probably being mistreated or not being paid attention to. How you treat people is very key to it. You find out a lot of times, hey, they were having trouble on the job, they're getting ready to get fired, and some people can't handle that. And it's how you handle that. I won't give the man's name out, but I had a boss one time that everybody he fired was happy when they left. I've never seen that. I've never seen a boss ever do that. He had a gift of how to break something bad and people feel good about it. Like they can take on the world. And what I like what he did was one of the things he did was before he left him, because one of my friends actually sat there and tried to do everything he did and it didn't work out. But he said one of the things he found out is that as they were letting him go, he said, look, things just didn't work out here. It doesn't mean it will work out for you in life. I think these things here, right here, if you work on these things here, your next job will be better. That's why probably, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. It's okay, right? Because you're not happy, they're not happy. Let's try to get you in a better moment. And it's just how you approach it, folks. It's just like what Pete said. It's if you treat people with respect, you get respect. But when you treat them and like they're nothing, these situations can turn sideways on you. So, you know, folks, this is a great discussion. We can talk all day on this one here. But treat people nice today. We'll just say, be kind today, folks. We don't know what happened, but be kind to folks today. Till next time, we'll see you again on Mom and Dad Talk.
Okay.